Let's stand up and worship this morning, everybody.
Everybody's waiting for Jan. Pretty much what it is.
Strength will rise.
Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord our God. You reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God. The everlasting God. You do not make you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord our God. You reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God. The everlasting God. You do not think you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. You are the everlasting God. The everlasting God. You do not think you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles.
Good morning, CCNP family. This is the FAKE News, brought to you by Old McDonald's Farm. I am the CIEIO. Right now, we've got a top story that's kind of disturbing. The rock star Sting has been kidnapped. The police have no lead. Tonight is the Student Ministries Skate Night in Albemarle. Now, we're going to Sue Drake, who is on location at Skate City in Albemarle, to get the latest on tonight's event. Sue, can you hear me?
So guess what tonight is? It is Skate Night at 52 North Skate City in Albemarle, sponsored by your one and only Student Ministry. Do you want to know if you're invited? If you're listening to this right now, you're invited. It's tonight from 6 to 8. The price of admission, bring your favorite snack, bring your favorite drink. If you have a student, drop off and pick up at the skating rink. I will see you there.
Thanks so much, Sue, but we got to do a correction. The correction on the time. Tonight, the time will be from 5 to 7 p.m. at Skate Night. So 5 to 7, let's see you there. The men's conference is this Friday and Saturday. Now here is Johnny Hunt to tell us about the theme and his focus for each evening.
Men, favorite time of the year, and that is to talk about our annual men's conference. You know there was a little change. We normally do Super Bowl Sunday weekend, but because it's coming here to Atlanta and prices have skyrocketed, we've moved to January 25 and 26. This year, the overarching theme is game plan. I'm going to be dealing in particular of the poison that invades the system of the person who allows bitterness to find a root in your heart. And then we'll move into that marvelous subject of unforgiveness. And I've never been more ready and equipped to talk about what forgiveness really looks like and the model that Jesus gave us. And then we'll wrap it up, Lord willing, by talking about how to get our hearts aligned with biblical truth and really with the Christ-likeness that we find throughout the Scriptures.
Wow, man, this sounds like an amazing conference. Now, today is the last Sunday to sign up. So do not hesitate to call Walt Concannon or Todd Cull, and let's see you there. We have a special guest this morning, Maylin Mullinax with the CCMP mission team. Good morning, Maylin.
Good morning, Michael.
I understand you're here to share with us about the CCMP Valentine Dinner.
I am. This is our third annual Valentine's Day dinner. All proceeds are going to go to the 2019 mission trip to Nicaragua. It's going to happen February 8th. Starts at 6 p.m. We're going to have dinner, dancing, entertainment. It's going to be really fun. We're also going to have gift baskets again this year. So if you want to participate in that, bring some cash with you.
Nice. How do we get in? Is there an admission fee, or is there something we need to do from here?
Yes, so we will have tickets. Everybody will get a ticket. We have 150 to sell though, so make sure you buy your tickets in advance. These will go on sale January 20th, and we will sell them until February 3rd. They're $20 for adults and $10 for kids 12 and under.
How exciting is that? Can I see one of those?
Yeah.
Nice. We have 139 to sell right now, so we get yours fast. This is going to be a great event, and it goes to a great, great cause for the mission trip to Nicaragua. Thank you so much, Maylin.
Thank you, Michael.
That concludes this morning's announcement here at the FAKE News. I want to thank you, and I just ask that you pray for everyone that is struggling with work and the situations that are going on now, because we even have news that the orthodontists are getting ready to go on strike. So brace yourself.
brace yourself. All right, I hope you really focus in on our fake news, because I know it's let me explain a little bit. I know it's a lot. It's a lot of things going on, but let me explain that. Our goal is not busyness. That is not what we're trying to do. In fact, we're too busy anyway. Would you agree with that? I mean, our life just comes at you. But here's what we try to do. We try to provide for the church family things, events, trips that will point us toward our mission, which is to grow in Christ together as a family, as the church family. So please watch these announcements, and we try to slip a little humor in there once in a while, which Michael does incredibly well. But there's a purpose for all of the events that you see. And so I really want to encourage you, keep the bulletin with you through the week. It will pretty much answer all the questions you might have, all right? I have 2 more journey jars today. I'm telling you now, Stetson and Jesse, literally, they bring in one every week. So those of us who are not, Jesse, how old are you? 12. And how old is Stetson? 6. These guys are wearing us out. I mean, they're going to build a building. Y'all two going to build a building. So that's, thank y'all. This one's probably a 2-hander. This one's heavy. And another family brought this in today. So keep in mind, you can keep doing your journey jars. If you have change around in your pocket, in your car, wherever, drop them in the jar, bring them in, and that will help us move toward our next phase of our journey. Thank you. And thanks for those who participate. Let's see. Men's conference, real quick, after the service today. If you are going, meet us up here. Tell you what, let's meet over here. Todd and Bill and some of us will be, let's meet over here, and we will just go over some logistics. Where do we meet? When do we leave? If we carpool, make sure everybody's got a hotel room, and answer all your questions about the men's conference. Okay, so right after the service, very brief meeting, right over here. Okay, Valentine's Band dinner. We started off with 150 tickets. Hunter, how many we got now?
Around 120.
About 120. So they're going fast. So you need to get your tickets. Now, keep in mind, this is not a church service. Therefore, there is a cost because it is a fundraiser for our missions trip this summer to Nicaragua. You don't have to come, obviously. But if you would like to come, guys, I'm trying to help you out here. You need to do something for Valentine's Day. Just buy a ticket and bring her to the Valentine's Day. Great food. I'm trying to help you out. So, right here at this table, Kim and Hunter or Malin will be there. Come by and get your tickets because we only got 150. That's all the space we have. It's going to be a great time. Lots of fun. Yes, we will go skating tonight. Right, Jada? Turn around. There's the skate place right there, and so we're going to be there tonight, 5 to 7. There will be prayer and planning for those who do not go skating. If you go skating, go have fun. And Jeff Drake is an EMT. Just throwing that out there in case we have a problem, which is highly possible. Some of you have asked, and I love this. I have 2 comments that I want to share that just made my week, and I want to share them. One comment was, Pastor, in the bulletin, your note page, there's not enough room. Because I just take notes and I run out of room and I write everywhere. So, we have provided for you at the table, this is note sheets. It says CCMB Sunday Notes, Sermon Series, and the date. So you can keep yourself organized and take more notes. That encouraged me to know that at least one person takes notes. The other one is this message I got this week. Pastor, is there any way we can make our service longer?
Amen.
I'm telling you the truth. I'm not making this up. She said, I have a great idea. Why don't we worship and do family time for 1 hour, and you can preach for another hour? You're not amused. I'm serious. She really said that is not in the plan, though. That's not in the plan. But it sure did sound good. Okay. Let's see. All right. I've got a couple. Oh, parents. We have some issues with rooms. We work with the Mount Pleasant Elementary School, so each week we move in and do our thing. 3 of our rooms for our children were not unlocked this week, which means we can't use them. So, nursery, toddlers, and 1 and 2s will meet in the gym this morning because we can't get into the rooms. And things like that happen. This is not our building. We don't get aggravated. We don't cry. That's why we're going to get into our own place. So we won't have those kind of issues. So it's no big deal, but I want to make sure you know nursery, toddlers, 1 and 2s, all go to the gym. We have you set up in there. Okay, now, Bobby, come on up here, buddy. We're going to do perfect. Where's Bob? There he is. We have been working hard at moving into our new place at the mill. We're getting really close. We are just really close, and so much is happening every week. And a few weeks ago, I just was so blessed. I go in there about every day because I'm anxious, and so we got in and were able to do the painting. And we provided the sweat equity on that, and Bobby volunteered to facilitate all that. He said, I will be in charge of it, I'll do it. And so I'm in there watching him, he's up on the lift painting, and it was just such a blessing to see a person, a life that previously was kind of rough, kind of broken. And here he is in the mill becoming productive again and usable again. and profitable again. And so he had this thought, he has this, and he wanted to dedicate this to our church. Why don't you explain it, Bob?
What got me to come into this church was 3 words from him. We're all broken. I thought about it, thought about it, and thought about it. And just kept beating on my heart, and so here I am. Here's a broken cross, which recommends, it's kind of, I'm lost for words.
Kind of beat up.
Kind of beat up cross, I am the poster boy for brokenness, so it would be, a good thing to give this to the church. I want to hang it up somewhere, or have somebody hang it up somewhere in our new church. I appreciate everybody.
That is what happens when God gets a hold of us. All of us. All of us. All of us are broken. All of us are broken. Don't be thinking you're not, or somebody's not as broken as somebody else. All of us are broken. And so, I just think it's so appropriate that Bobby thought to present this beat up, cracked, broken, stained cross, which represents all of us. And we'll put that up in our new building, so we can always remember. And now remember, we're moving into the mill. We're not moving into a warehouse where things are stored and get dusty and not used. We're moving into a mill where things that were previously not used become productive and used. And we're just weeks away. Stay tuned. Thank you, God. That's pretty cool, isn't it? All right, now we have a special presentation. My friend Hannah has got an opportunity, and I wanted her to share that with the church. So Hannah, you come on up, and I want you to share with us. You want to use this? Okay, come on up. And I'm excited for her, and she's going to share with you an opportunity that the Lord has brought into her life.
Hi, for those of you that don't know, my name is Hannah Love, and I'm a graduate student in the speech therapy program at Marshall University in West Virginia. I've felt a strong calling to serve internationally since I was in high school, so when I started undergrad at Appalachian State, I knew I wanted to get a degree that could potentially benefit me in the mission field. So I went back and forth between majors, and something that drew me to speech therapy was the wide variety of disorders and populations that I could work with. So, although I had this idea to use my knowledge and clinical skills to minister to people around the world, that was kind of my dream, I never thought that I would find an organization that I could actually partner with that would allow me to do this. So, God laid it on my heart, and He's made a way. I'm so happy to share that I will be going to Uganda in May, and I'll be there for 1 month. The organization that I've partnered with is called Hope Speaks. Hope Speaks is a Christian-based organization that provides speech therapy services, awareness, education, and advocacy in Kampala, Uganda. So 1 in 7 children in Uganda are currently living with a disability. These children are often seen as worthless, and they're hidden from society. Their moms are told that they're being punished by God, and the fathers are told that they should leave their families. Therapy and rehabilitative services are virtually non-existent in countries like Uganda. So much of the work that I will be doing will include teaching these children to swallow and chew and understand and express language. I will also have the opportunity to evaluate and treat adults who have suffered from stroke and brain injury. But beyond that, I will be able to share the word and love of Christ with the people of Uganda. So I'd like to ask you to pray for me during this journey, specifically that God would prepare my heart and my mind for the opportunities that I will have while I'm there. And also please pray for the adults and children that I will encounter while I'm there. If you would like to know more about my trip or would like to donate to help support me, then I'll be by the door after the service. And thank you so much for your support.
Now, this is family time, and Hannah's family. And so God has brought this, listen y'all, you know, the world is a lot bigger place than Mount Pleasant, or Cabarrus County, or Stanley County, or Rowan County. It's a big place. And guess what one of our jobs is, church? Train, equip, enable, and release our family to get out in that big old world and give people the love of Jesus. Amen. And I am so proud of Hannah and many others. And listen, that's what we're here for, church. It's not just all us coming in here on Sunday mornings, smiling at each other, patting each other on the back. Woohoo! Wasn't that good? Don't we have a good? No, that's just the place where we start. Literally, we go all over the world. And so, please stop by and see Hannah after the service. If you have questions for her, tell her you're going to be praying for her. And if God leads you to partner with her, how much money does this thing cost? $5,000. That is not anything to God. And I believe that, I think some of you will want to be a part of that. And I just wanted to give you the opportunity. So, Hannah, we're praying for you and we're proud of you. And when you get back, we're ready for a presentation to tell us what happened. Thank you. Now, most of us, well, actually none of us are going to get to go to Uganda or Nicaragua this week to be a missionary. But we're going to get to go to work and school and out to eat and to do whatever it is we do. You are just as much on mission as Anna and others who go around the world. It's right here, folks. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your attention. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and go into worship. Thank you.
Yeah, same of mine.
Maybe you were listening to Hannah this morning
How you doing?
and you thought that, wow, I would really like somehow to be a part of something like that. I don't know about going to Uganda by myself. It's pretty courageous for Hannah. Probably pretty courageous for Mom and Dad too. But if you're thinking about something like that, we just want you to know that in July, the church will also be sending a team down to Nicaragua again. And this Tuesday at 6:30 at the meal, we're going to be having a meeting about that. If you're interested in that trip, it'll be a nice time to come because Raul and Farrell will be there at the meeting, at the meal, Tuesday night at 6:30. And if you got questions and you just want to hear from somebody who's on the ground down there, it'll be a great time to meet them and have that opportunity. I've also got some handouts over here on the table with just some information. It's like David said, you know, the world is a big place. And it's easy in our day-to-day lives to sort of think about the kind of the 1 square mile around us. But it's a big world out there. And just like sometimes there are people across the street who are waiting on us to come, there are many, many accounts and people waiting across the world waiting for you to come to. So if the Lord has put that on your heart, here's your chance. If you got a young person the Lord's been speaking to about missions, here's a chance for you to go with them. Take them. And maybe both your hearts be revolutionized and changed forever. Instead of the worship this morning.
Whisper of love, dead of night. are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Oh, this love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Be so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still into love. Love, you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am.
Amen. As we go into this next song, you know in Ephesians it says what? It says we were dead in our trespasses and sins. You know, over in 1 Peter, the Lord reminds us that according to His great mercy, He has given us a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Christ. You know, what do you think Bobby thinks about that cross? Because he knows what it was like to be dead. He remembers what it was like to be dead. And then to come in contact with something that's alive and breathing and living and working. And to be raised to a new life in Christ. Do you remember what it was like to be lost? A lot of us are saved at an early age, and it's kind of a fuzzy thing. And if you were, all you have to do is sort of flip on the TV or turn on the news or walk out into the street and you'll see what your life could have been like. We're alive for a reason. Maybe Jesus didn't come to make bad people good. Maybe Jesus came to give dead people life. Sing this morning. How great a chasm that lay between cross. How high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke the name into the night. Then through the darkness, your loving kindness saw through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the call is written. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Sing this with us, who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to wear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who sets me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your very body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your very body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Jesus, yours is the victory. need to come down here. You need to bring somebody with you. You need to bring something with you. You just come on down, folks. There's chairs over here if you don't want to kneel. If you just want people to pray for you, you come on down. Broken every chain, there is salvation in your name. The living hope, Lord Jesus. God, for a believer, this is the closest to hell we'll ever come. But Lord, maybe there's somebody here today, God, who doesn't understand why everybody is clapping and hooting and hollering about the song. Maybe they just don't know. God, we pray, Lord, that you would speak into their heart, Lord Jesus. God, we don't speak truth into the heart, into their life this morning, Lord, so they might know and so they might be set free, Lord. Knows the answer's not within us, Lord. The answer's in you, Lord Jesus. But we look around us, Lord Jesus, and we see the darkness in the world around us, Lord. But even in this darkness, Lord Jesus, your light shines bright, Lord. God, help it to shine in us and through us, Lord Jesus. Regardless of the cynicism that exists in the world, this place is not without hope because you are still alive. And help us never to forget that, Lord Jesus, that this life and people around us, regardless of how broken and how deserted we may think we are or feel, Lord, or how deserted and broken things may look, there is hope in you. And it is not a dead hope, it is a living, breathing, live hope. And that is why we sing this morning. Amen.
Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your very body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me.
About that brokenness. Remember when you were little and that toy or whatever it was that you loved and valued so much, and eventually things tend to wear out or get broken. And it would break your heart. So a lot of times I remember what I would do is I would go try to find my daddy or my mama, and I would say, "Can you fix this?" And usually Daddy can fix it. But about that brokenness, about your brokenness, about our brokenness, Mama can't fix that one. Daddy can't fix that one. The president can't fix it. The mayor can't fix it. I'm talking about that brokenness. Your best friend can't fix it. People that you love and respect can't fix you. Shoot, the preacher can't fix you. And so, just understand that it's void to run around and try to have people fix you. Because they can't fix that brokenness. Only Jesus can fix you. That's the only hope. That brokenness. That brokenness. Only Jesus. Only Jesus. Genesis chapter 2. I want you to saddle up. We're going to have a good time in the Word today. Good study. This is part 2. It's a new year. Hope your 2019 is going good. I'm so glad you chose to come visit with us and worship with us and fellowship with us and laugh with us today. I'm so happy. I'm so thrilled that you chose to do that. Thank you. You bless us by being here. I hope your year's going good, off to a good start. Wonder how those resolutions are going. Wonder how those diets are already broken. Wonder how much weight has come off or been added. Brand new year. New beginnings. And we start in the first book, the Book of Beginnings. What a good place to start off a new year. And we're going to learn some stuff today from the very first person that was ever created, and then the second person that was ever created. Remember last week I told y'all that God made all the creation and He did it all and He looked at it and said, "Man, this is good." Well, there was one thing that He hadn't yet created. And we're going to meet her today. Genesis. Today, I want you to do this with me, and we're kind of going to do this through this whole study. I want to give you the passages, Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to start with verse 9, and we're going to walk through the entirety of chapter 3. Now, I'm not going to read all the verses, but I'm going to speak, and I'm going to encourage you to follow me along, because I'm going to talk us through these verses and this whole passage. And it moves quickly, so stay with me. I want to go ahead and turn to one verse, which is probably our key verse. There's so much, but let me just run down to kind of give us a platform. Chapter 2, verse 24 is kind of where we kind of start here. "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." There's an important principle here that is foundational. And so what happens is when we meet that person that God brings into our life, that mate, that husband, that wife, 3 things need to happen. First of all, you need to leave. Your mom and dad no longer are the core of your life. You need to leave that. You don't abandon. That's a different word, different thought. You don't abandon your parents, but you leave. And then you cleave to this person that God has brought into your life. And the third thing is you weave. You begin to build your life together. So the book of Genesis gives us a good start. We leave the life that we have known, that we got comfortable with, the people, and then we cleave unto that person that God brings in. You understand that's a little counterculture today in our society, right? Because when folks get married today and things don't work out the way they want, well, that's no problem. We got a prenup. Didn't work out. And then go find them another one. Let's find us a newer model. That's not what this says. You leave, you cleave. Well, I didn't know about all that. There's a lot of stuff I didn't know about, preacher. We got the rest of our lives to work through all that. And that's what we did. Dr. Carl and Sharon, how many years y'all been married? 57. That's pretty good. They're working it out. How about you, Tom? How many years y'all been married? You better remember. 60. Okay, that's good. All right. I'll put the pressure on him. Anybody got, he survived. Or he made it up. That was a good answer. Anybody got more than 60? That's impressive. We leave, we cleave, and we weave our lives together. That's a good place to start. Now, let me go to a little bit of a review. Here's what happened last week. Our mighty God made our big, beautiful world out of nothing. He spoke, and it was done. Day 1, let there be light, and there was light. Day 2, the skies and the waters. Day 3, the dry land appeared and the plants. Day 4, the sun, the moon, the stars that light up our lives and our world. Day 5, the sea creatures and the birds appeared. Day 6, the animals that inhabit this earth, this world that God made, and God made man. Now, God did something different when He made man. He made all the other stuff, and then He got this piece of dust out of the earth, and He picked it up and He molded it into a man, and then guess what He did? Breathe. He gave this body life, and He breathed into this creation a living soul, which did not happen with all the other creation. Therefore, this creation known as man has now a soul, and he will live forever and forever and forever and forever, for all of eternity. Day 7, God did something that was surprising. Guess what God did on day 7? He rested. Well, was that because God was so wore out and tired? I don't think so. I don't think God was tired. I think God stopped. And He took a step back. And He said, this day is going to be separated from the other 6. This day is a day that we stop and we reflect over all the works of our mighty God. And that is a wonderful pattern that we still believe we should do today. And that is set a day apart from all the others. It ought to be different. And we stop and we reflect and we worship and we be still and we listen and we appreciate all that God did in those other 6 days. The Sabbath was born. That's what God did last week. Now, let me go through the outline today. In your bulletin, you've got a little bit of a pattern to follow. So what I want you to do is have your Bible. As I begin, I want you to read the verses as I explain basically what's going to happen. Point number one is the Garden of Eden. This is an amazing, wonderful environment that God created. It is the perfect home. God wanted Adam to have the most wonderful home, and so He made for him a garden, a beautiful paradise. Genesis 2:8. So the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and He placed Adam there to take care of it. The garden had every kind of tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The animals were not wild or ferocious, but tame and gentle. Adam had no fear of the animals. It was a perfect, harmonious environment. Verses 19 and 20 of chapter 2, God had all the animals pass by Adam. This is fascinating. And he had all the animals pass by Adam, and Adam gave them names, we're told in verses 19 to 20. Then God looked. God watches. And he looked at all he made and said, verse 20, the animals all have mates. But Adam is alone. Isn't that something that was the observation of the Creator? He noticed, he looked, and he saw it. And Adam was alone. He didn't have a mate. And God did an amazingly wonderful thing. He needed a companion. As we all do. God said, I will make a woman. Verses 21 and 22. God did not form woman from the dust of the earth as he did Adam. Instead, he put Adam to sleep. This was the first official form of innocence. God put Adam to sleep. He put him under. He was about to do surgery. Any of y'all been under? You go under the anesthesia? That's a little scary, right? Because you're thinking, well, man, if I go under, there's always a chance I may not wake up. So the first anesthesia was performed on Adam. And he put him to sleep. While Adam was sleeping, God took a rib. The way our God does things. We could never, ever think of a better way for God to do things than what God has already thought of to do. Because He's God. So, Adam sleeping, God took a rib from his side. You know what? It doesn't say this. That was close to his heart. A rib. Do you know what you can do when you break a rib? Nothing. They can't fix it. You have to be careful, but they can't go in there and fix it because it's close to the heart. It's in a sensitive place, and so God, from that rib, God made the first. Like Adam. She had a soul because God already gave Adam a soul. And God created her from him, who was already a living soul that would never die. And she could know and love God. When Adam awoke, he was delighted with his mate and his wife. Verse 23, he said, she is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. Woman! Because she was taken out of man. Hosea 2:16, she said, this is my husband. Not my Lord, but my husband. There's a difference in being a Lord and a husband. And he named her Eve. Genesis 3:20. I believe is the first time that we actually hear Adam. And Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. Eve means living or life giver. That's Eve. Mother of all. God created Adam and Eve perfectly. They were holy and they were happy. They never got, imagine this, they never got angry, never spoke harsh words, never had evil thoughts, never were afraid. They didn't know fear. Never sick or tired or sad or worried because life was perfect in the garden. They did not need for clothes because they were wrapped in the goodness and innocence and glory of God Himself. There was no need for clothes. There was nothing to hide. They were innocent, clothed in the very holiness of God, the God who created them in this garden. Sin and shame had not yet come into this world. Can you, I don't think we can imagine a world without sin. I don't think our minds can comprehend a world, because that's all we know. That's where we live, in a world of sin and shame and guilt and hurt and brokenness. Adam and Eve were the king and queen of God's beautiful paradise. God told Adam, I've given you plants and fruit trees that for your food. The vines, the bushes, the trees were loaded with good things to eat. Y'all, you want to talk about organic? This was the ultimate organic. It was. Can you listen? Today we're going to all leave and we're going to all go eat something. It's probably not good for you. Can you imagine a world where nothing is not good for you to eat? Sign me up. The ultimate garden home. Genesis 1:28 through 31 it goes into more detail about explaining this amazing, incredible, wonderful garden home. God was pleased with His creation. He blessed Adam and Eve and told them to multiply and fill the earth. Perfect world. No struggles to keep the garden. No pain, no sickness, no sorrow. There was no sin. See, that's the problem. There was no sin. So everything was perfect. This is the environment that God desired for us. It's perfect. We could approach God as Adam and Eve did, because there was not yet sin. Number 2, God visits the garden. God came in the cool of the day. Chapter 3, verse 8 says, to visit with Adam. God came to visit Adam and Eve. Anybody ever come to your house? You might want to, no solicitors, no ringing the doorbell. Somebody's trying. God came to see Adam and Eve and hang out with Adam and Eve in their garden in the cool of the day. Now, I want you to think about this. They looked forward to His visit. They loved God. And she's asked, Adam, is it time yet? Is it time? Is it time for God to come and see us today? Is it time for us to spend time with God today? Because He's going to come and visit us in our garden home. They heard Him with joy. They anticipated and loved His presence. It was their favorite time of day. Do you understand that it is possible for us to have a time like that today? A time when God visits with us? A time when we find us a good place that's quiet and peaceful? And this time that we find where we have a place that we meet with God and we fellowship, and He comes and He spends time with us, not the phone or the TV or stuff. This was their favorite time of the day. You have a time like that? You know what? God can't wait to come visit you. But sometimes we just get so busy. God gave Adam and Eve a free will. Now this is important. This is the book of beginnings. This is the foundation. So there's a lot of principles that you need to focus in on today. God gave Adam and Eve a free will. They could choose to obey Him or not. Now, let me interject this at this time for a minute. Here is a time and a place where we could all really think through this thing and say, well, why? Why did God tell them there's only this one tree they couldn't eat of? Well, why did God let the serpent come in? Why did this? Why did that? Why did this happen? Why did God... Can I give you a theological answer? I don't know. I don't have those answers. I don't know. But what I do know is what we have recorded in this book. This is truth. This is the dialogue of creation. I don't know why God did things the way He did. To be honest with you, it's okay to wonder. It's okay to ask. But who am I to ask God why He did things? He did. And it's recorded. And we believe it. I believe it. Because I believe this book is the source of truth.
Amen.
Why? Why did God give them a free will? I have a supposition. And again, this is all, you have as good of ideas, you have as good a mind as I do. But God did not want to make or force them to do what He said. He didn't. He did not force them. He didn't make them. And so it is with us. God did not want to make Adam and Eve love Him. He did not make Adam and Eve come to the garden and anticipate with eagerness His coming to visit with them. He didn't make them do that. They did it because they loved Him and they couldn't wait. Free will. You want your spouse and children? Think with me. Don't you want your children to choose to love you? Because what would it be if you just made them? You understand? You have to love me, and you can't control a heart. You can control an action. I'll show you. You're going to sit. And you can control an action, but you can't control a heart. Because God made it that way. God gave us a free will. God did not make you a robot. He wants you to choose to love Him.
Amen.
That seems fair to me. He created us. It seems more than fair. Have you chosen to love God? Have you chosen that? Or do you just kind of do it robotically? Guess I better go to church because that's what we're supposed to do. Guess I better do this because Daddy made me do it. Guess I better... Stop. Have you chosen? Why did you come to church this morning? Well, it's a good habit. It's a good habit. It's a good place to be. A lot of good things. But really, really, really deep inside your heart, why did you choose to come to church today? Why do you choose to read your Bible if you do? Why do you choose to pray if you choose to do that? You want your children to choose to love you. Guess what? You can't make them. There may be times that your children are sitting down with their feet on the floor and their hands on the table and they're still and they're quiet. I know that's rare, but there may be times when you can control that. but they may be jumping up and down on the inside. Because you can't control their heart. God didn't control Adam and Eve's heart. He wanted them to choose to love Him. And He does you too. He does not make us pray or read our Bible or go to church. You know, it's amazing. What do you want to do when you really, really love somebody? What do you want to do? You want to please them? You want to see them? You want to be with them? When you really love them. And that's because it's in your heart. Nobody makes you do that. I remember when I was in college and I was getting acquainted with the woman who is now my wife. We were friends. This budding relationship, and one of my roommates said, "What's the matter with you?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Do you see this girl that you should be with all the time and dating and asking her out and eventually?" And I'm like, "Oh, wow, okay." And I started thinking about that, and I thought, man, this is a pretty good deal here. And so I did things that were out of character for me. I would spend money on her. Now, I'm a country boy. We didn't have much. And all of a sudden, I didn't care what it cost to give her something and it made her smile. I didn't care. It didn't matter because I was falling in love. Nobody made my heart do that. And God won't make you love Him. But He wants you to. See, because when you're in love, you would do anything for the person you love. You get irrational. You get unreasonable when you have lose all of your senses when you really fall in love. You may choose to leave your family and your job to follow this guy on the beaches who says, "Come follow me." It is irrational when you think God's wanting you to do something and nothing else matters but following Him. Because you are so infatuated with Him. Have you been there? He won't make you go there. He don't make robots. And you know what? Sometimes men, we try to produce robots. Watch it now. We're getting in a dangerous place here. Because we try to set up some rules and say, now look, if y'all love Jesus, you have to do this. You have to dress like this, and you have to drive this car, and you have to act like this. Folks, that is dangerous. If God gave us a free will, who are we to think we can produce robots? That's legalism. And it's wrong. It's just, we're not robots. Verse 17, God said, in the midst of the garden is a tree of knowledge. This is chapter 2, verse 17. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, a very important tree. Chapter 3, verse 3, if you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will surely what? Die. God said that. Adam and Eve decided they would not eat of that tree. They would obey God because they loved God. It wasn't a hard choice. It wasn't a hard, well, let's pray about this. We need to pray and let's talk about whether or not we're going to eat of the fruit. It wasn't hard. God said don't eat it. Okay. They love God. So they said, we'll obey. Number 3. Now, I want you to look at chapter 3. The first few verses are not fun. We're introduced to the enemy of God. The bad guy comes onto the scene in Genesis chapter 3. God has a dreadful enemy. Before the world began, this enemy was the most beautiful of all the angels of heaven. He was the leader of the angels. His name was Lucifer, son of the morning. Wow. Revelation 12:9 says this is Satan himself. Lucifer watched all the angels bowing down and worshiping God. Lucifer became jealous and discontent. I want the angels to worship me. Look at me. I'm powerful. I'm beautiful. I will sit on a throne higher than the throne of God. I will be like God, Lucifer said. First of all, that's impossible. Because there's just God. No one can choose to be God. Only God is God. He's God. You're not God. Nobody else can't be God because God's God. Now, what you hear today is contrary to that. Oh, there are many gods. No, there's not. There's one God. You can become a God. No, you can't. You'll never be God because you're not God. Because God is God.
Amen.
1/3 of the angels of heaven believed Lucifer. A lot of people are very gullible. And they listen. And they believe things that aren't true. 1/3. They followed his rebellion against God. As a result, God cast Lucifer and all the angels who followed him out of his presence. Lucifer became Satan, the devil. The fallen angels became demons and evil spirits. Folks, I know that there are depictions and thoughts and attitudes and suppositions about the devil. This is nothing to play with. He's real. He is the enemy of God. He hates God. He hates truth. He hates you if you're a follower of God. He's real. There's just certain places we don't need to go. And playing with the enemy is not a place we need to go. Oh, preacher, we just need to coexist. No, we don't need to coexist. We need to understand who God is. And exist because of Him. And Him alone. Satan still hates God. He hates the Bible. He hates truth. He hates all of us who follow. The devil is a liar. He's a trickster. He's a deceiver. It's what he did. It's what he does. And that's how he deceived Adam and Eve. And he still deceives people today, and some of you have been deceived. He wanted to ruin God's plan and God's perfect creation because he hated God. Everything God loved, Satan hates. His plan was to deceive Eve, trick her, and get her to eat the forbidden fruit. Number 4 in your outline, number 4, Satan deceives her. Chapter 3, verses 1 through 7. When Eve was in the garden, near the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, Satan entered the body of a serpent. Now, I want you to, you have to think with me here. The serpent in this Edenic form is not to be thought of as a writhing reptile. He's not that yet. Here, in chapter 3. The creature which lent itself to Satan may well have been the most beautiful as it was the most subtle, powerful word of all the creatures less than man. Traces of that beauty remain despite the curse. Every movement of a serpent is graceful. Many species are beautifully colored. In the serpent, Satan first appeared as an angel. When Eve saw the serpent, she didn't go, "Ew, a snake!" Can you just put that out of your mind? In fact, I believe that the serpent stood upright because he had not yet been cursed to crawl on his belly. I believe she couldn't keep her eyes off of this creature because the beauty was overwhelming. That's what Satan does. He will make your children be attracted to something that catches their attention, and they will think, "Wow, I've never seen that before. I'm attracted to that because it's so beautiful and it's deadly." That's what the enemy does. So, angel of light. Has God said, Satan spoke, has God said that you must not eat any of the fruit of the garden? All the trees except one. Eve said, "This tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If we do, God said we will surely die." Look at verse 4. You might want to circle verse 4 of chapter 2. Highlight it, circle it. Because this is the very first lie recorded. Satan said, "You shall not surely die." That is in direct opposition to what God said. God said, if you eat this tree, of the fruit of this, you will surely... Satan said, "Oh, you won't really die." He lied. The first lie. I wonder what the first lie he told you was. Oh, it won't matter. It's just one. Oh, that's not going to hurt anybody. Just this one time. And then you were captured. Because he lied to me. And you believed it. And you were captured. God knows, Eve, God knows that as soon as you eat it, you won't die. In fact, you will be as wise as he is. That's why he told you don't eat that, because if you eat it, you'll be like him. And he can't have that. So boy, he's laying it on now. He's just laying it on. And she's intrigued. And she begins to reason. So in her mind, she has gone from obedience to question. Maybe if I just took them? Wait, what happened to the obedience over here? What happened to, we will not disobey God? Well, wait a minute now. She's moving in her mind. That's how it works. Sometimes we need to draw a line. Don't open your mind to reasoning that is contrary to what God's already said. God said no. God said don't eat it. But boy, you know, it's what? Maybe. And we begin to think and reason and rationalize. Not wrong to think. Not wrong to think. But if God already said don't do it, don't do it!
Amen.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying don't think. Remember, we already said we're not robots. But when God clearly says, do this, do it. Or don't do this, don't do it. Don't be deceived. This is the same lie the devil gives us today. Same lie. Same lie. Oh, you won't die. Look, just have a drink. It won't kill you. You get home, you feel a little sick, but the next day, well, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. Just a shoot. If there's nothing that bad came out of that. And so we move further and further and further away from obedience into disobedience. Eve listened. She heard. She opened her mind, verse 5, to this new view that she'd never been presented with before. And the only problem with that was it opposed God's instructions. She was greatly tempted. Two things. The fruit was beautiful. It was beautiful. It looked good. I don't know what it was. It looked good. You ever just, and she was tricked by the beauty of that fruit, and she was tricked by the lie of the deceiver. The fruit and the enemy. It looked beautiful. Number 5. Adam and Eve sinned. Maybe he's right. It looks so good. It looks so innocent. It's just like the others, only more beautiful. You know this. All things that glitter are not gold. Let me tell you something. Let me just... You're going to run across a woman that is more beautiful than your wife. Ladies, please don't be offended by that, because you're beautiful. There's going to be fruit out there, and it is going to be attractive. But it's not to be taken, because God said don't. Ladies, you're going to come across a man who is sweeter and more sensitive, and he has better abs. I don't know why I said that. I'm holding my breath. I can't hold it for long. The fruit looks good, but it's not worth it. Not worth it. You better just stick with what God did. Better just work it out. It's not worth it. She took the fruit and she ate it. Adam was evidently nearby, so she gave some to him. And guess what he did? Oh, Eve, no! God said we can't eat that! No! Guess what he did? That looks good. Never said we're the smartest. Let me just say this right here. They both clearly sinned. They both disobeyed. God said, I don't know if God thought this or not. He probably did. I would have. One thing! One thing! One thing! Just one thing I told you you couldn't do, and you did it! That's what I would have thought. Immediately, they knew they had done wrong. They knew. They knew! Well, I don't know. It kind of feels like... You know! For the first time, they realized that they were naked. Guilt entered the world. They were no longer holy and innocent. They were guilty. And they were ashamed. Death had begun. Death was not instantaneous when she took a bite. She didn't drop dead right there. No, but it had started. Death began. They had disobeyed the one commandment God gave them. Now we're about to experience a whole world of new things. New emotions, fear, unhappiness, sadness, guilt, ashamed. Ironically, the same emotions you and I feel today when we disobey God. Same thing. Same thing. We're right there with them. To cover their nakedness, they sewed fig leaves together to make aprons to cover themselves. But the fig leaves could not cover their guilt before God. They thought they could hide from God. How foolish is that? That you and I think maybe He didn't notice. Maybe He don't notice. Really? But we do the same thing. No matter where we go or hide, God is there. Number 6, sin must be punished. I don't know why. Well, why couldn't God just give them a mulligan right there? I don't know. Because God's holy. And sin is not. And they disobey. Therefore, sin cannot be in the presence of God because God's holy. So it had to be punished. In verse 8, in the cool of the day, they heard God, and they hid from Him. Adam, I've come to visit like I do every day. I'm here. God knew where they were. See, before, they must have been there waiting on God at the place. They weren't there. Because they were hiding. Because they were ashamed. Because they knew they had disobeyed. We were afraid, so we hid ourselves. Well, God knew that. God said, Adam, have you eaten of the forbidden fruit? Verse 12. Okay, y'all ready for this? Here it is. Here's Adam. Adam, have you eaten of the forbidden fruit? God? I'm not making this up. The man said, the woman, she did it. It's her fault. Oh, and another thing, God. Which woman? Oh, the woman you gave me. That's us. That's us now. That's us today when we sin. That's us. Oh, it wasn't my fault. Look, it's somebody else's fault. And by the way, God, you made that. Maybe it's your fault. God, this woman who you gave me, she gave me the fruit to eat. And so God said to Eve, Eve, what have you done? You know what Eve said? The snake! Wasn't me! He did it! He tricked me! Which is true. I want you to listen. Uh-oh. The finger pointing has started. And it goes on today. And you and I do it. Because we blame everybody and anybody for our own sin. I don't want to say our own mistakes. Our sin! That's not a mistake. That's a sin. And we choose to disobey God. And we blame, listen, parents, listen to me. Can I help you? If you don't teach your children to take responsibility for their own actions, you're going to have a problem.
Right.
Here's our parents. Well, my little baby, I got to go around and clean up behind him because it's not really his fault. And she didn't mean to do it. And she's so sweet. And I got to go bail them out. And I got to clean up their messes. And I got to go down to that school and give that teacher a piece of my mind. When you probably ought to take your kid home and spank them. I know I've crossed the line, so here we go.
Amen.
We're already over time, and I've already went somewhere I shouldn't go. So, it's not my fault. I just couldn't resist.
Now it's time to try that 2 hours.
Thank you. Hey, there's nobody else to blame. They were both guilty. They chose to disobey God, and they were both punished. Take responsibility. The Lord said to the serpent, because chapter 3, verse 14, because you have done this, you will be punished. You will crawl in the dust as long as you live. And you will be hated. By the way, was that prophetic? What are people's responses to snakes today? Give me a... We pretty much hate snakes.
Amen.
To the woman, Eve, because of your choice, you will have pain and suffering. Adam, because of your choice, I've cursed the ground. It will now grow weeds and thorns and thistles, which there never were before. You will have to work hard and earn your living by the sweat of your brow. There will be much sorrow, and finally your bodies will decay and die. Death had begun. God didn't lie. They chose the fruit and they began to die. But worst of all, sin caused a wall to come between God and me. Sin. Their fellowship with God would never be the same. The sweet innocence they had in the garden would never be again. And here's what blows me away. But God still, here it comes. I was studying this and I thought, now how am I going to put a good ending to this? This is a bad story. Here it is. God still loved them as much as He did when He created.
Amen.
I don't have to contrive a happy ending. God already did that.
Amen.
Enter grace.
Amen.
All roads lead to grace. That's a bad story. That's a sad thing. But guess what? God loved them anyway. And as bad as you've messed up, as many mistakes as you've made, as much as you've disobeyed, God still loves you. No matter what. You say, preacher, I've spit in God's face. You don't know what I've done. It still has a good ending because all roads lead to grace and the cross. Number 7. God took the life. Don't miss this part of the story. They were naked and they sewed fig leaves together. And God said, I want to prepare for you covering. That would be practical. And so God took the life of an innocent animal, probably a lamb, to provide clothes, cover, and an innocent lamb. That animal did not do anything wrong. The animal didn't eat the fruit. The animal didn't sin. But God took the life of an innocent animal to provide a covering for us. His name was Jesus, the innocent lamb. Jesus. He was killed to provide a covering, which is grace. Here it is. The message of this story is grace. A terrible story ends in grace. God gave them hope and told them of the hope that would come to their children because of the Lamb. Number 8, Adam and Eve leave the garden. With heavy hearts, verses 23 and 24, Adam and Eve, dressed in animal skins, had to leave this perfect garden. They realized how terrible sin is, what it does, and how it must be punished. They would now have to work and sweat hard to make food grow. And they would have sadness and pain, sorrow and tears. Always the result of sin. Don't be fooled. Don't think you can get by with it. Always leads to pain and hurt and sorrow. A short-lived temporary pleasure which leads to death. Last point. Angels guard the tree of life. We're told in verse 24. God placed angels in the garden with a flaming sword to guard the entrance of the tree of life, lest man in his sinful condition should eat of it and live forever. But God still loved Adam and Eve, even though they sinned. I want you to think with me. I'm going to pray. There's so many things to think about. I want you to think about the fact that you and I, we are Adam and Eve. How many times have I heard you and I piously, well, if Adam and Eve had, no, that was us. That was us. Don't blame somebody else for your and ours decisions to disobey God. Just as He loves us today, even though we choose to sin. Why not ask God to forgive you today? Why not ask God? Why not just be really honest? And quit blaming everybody else for your own problems? And quit trying to get everybody else to fix you. It won't work. Only God can fix you. And He can do that today. With His grace. And His love. But He won't make you. He won't make you. He wants you to love Him. And say, Father, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Would you forgive me? You made a lamb to give me a covering for my sin. Oh God, I am unworthy. I'm undeserving. But I accept that covering. I accept that lamb today. Folks, if you're here today and you don't know Jesus as the lamb that provided a way for you, you can say yes to Him now.
Amen.
Right this moment. I want you to bow your heads and I want you to close your eyes. Now I want you to think about this. Because you and I sin, our fellowship is hindered with our Heavenly Father. But if you're in Christ, if you're in Christ, if you're a son or a daughter of God, listen, your relationship can never be taken.
Amen.
Oh, our fellowship is going to be hindered a little bit. God isn't happy with us. We're ashamed. But you cannot not be a child of God once you're in Christ.
Amen.
Would you just come back to Daddy today and say, Father, I'm sorry. I've really been an idiot. How could I be so deceived? I'm sorry. And He will cover you with love and grace that you've never even experienced before. I want you to stand right now. And I rarely do this. And I know we're over. I know we're over time. Hey, I'm going to invite, if you need to come up here and find you a spot, would you come right now? If you need to come and just pray and just talk to our Father, say, God, I need you. I need the Lamb. I need forgiveness. I need grace. I want your love. God, you're not making me. I just want to come and tell you I love you. And I need you in my life. I'm going to pray. And I invite you to pray. And I'm not even, listen, you talk to God. I don't know what you need to tell God. That's between you and Him. You talk to God right now as we close in prayer. Father, you are the Creator. You're God, and we're not. We have been deceived by your enemy. So God, may we be sick and tired of blaming everybody else for our sins. God, can we confess that today? It's me. I'm wrong. I'm broken. God, I acknowledge my sin. Lord, would you forgive me? Would you cover me with your grace? Thank you for the Lamb. Gave His life for us to cover our sins. Thank you. God, I know I'm going to sin again. I don't want to. Help me not to. Help me to obey you. Help me to be strong. Help me to honor you. And God, when I fail, help me to run to you and your grace and your mercy. Thank you for the relationship that will never be broken with our Father. Thank you. Thank you for truth. Help us to live it. God, would you fix us? Because nobody else can. Thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Next week, we finish up our study. We learn about Cain and Abel. There will be prayer planning tonight for those who don't go skating. Have fun. Be careful. You give to the Lord. Give in the black box over there. God bless you. Have a great week.